So nice to be here. We were just with Rex a couple of weeks ago. We helped design a 3-day thing. Michelle was at, and Darius and Jeffrey at UNT Dallas. It was really awesome. Basically, the topic or the title was local schools, and how there's a Dr. John Gasco over there, who's the head of the dean of the School of Education, who is posing that our schools would transform more into field hospitals, where the professors or teachers are doctors per se, and the students are patients per se. Perhaps we could bring healing into the classroom and to the overall environment, as well as a university like that, which UNT Dallas, whether you're from Dallas or not, is the only four-year public school in Dallas County, four-year public higher education university in Dallas County. How the university can affect our high schools and our middle schools. They're putting clubs in high schools for teachers and for teaching. They're doing things like having 2 semesters required for teachers to get a certification. The first semester is for all of the classroom stuff. The second semester is for all of the internal self-care work, right? One thing he likes to share that mind-blowing, I think, for all of us is the top 4 most stressful occupations in life are, who can say the first one? Just take a guess. Military. Who can say the second one? Policemen.
Police.
The third one is teachers, and the fourth one is working parents. So of the top 4 most stressful work environments, the last 2 are our educators, right? So we were brought in, as Rex mentioned, we work in the social emotional learning field. That field is how we call it in schools. In the business, as he just mentioned, emotional intelligence or emotional quotient is what we're trying to translate our work into. Businesses, and perhaps those of you in this room, need to have your ROI go up. So how can we bring the internal work into your organizations to make that happen? We just had a meeting yesterday with JLL talking about their retreat, the annual retreat in Colorado. So we hope that their national executives may be interested in our work. I'm so happy to be here. You have cards in front of you, right? We're going to get to those cards, but I'm going to ask you to humor me for a moment. If you've been with me first, I just want you to kind of put your hands together like this and just kind of rub them together, right? And I would like you to do this with me. Put your right hand up in the air. Shake it. Everybody's doing it? Rex, you got everybody doing everything for me. All right, start with your thumb and repeat after me. Say, my voice, has power, to speak, my truth, and share, my light. I speak English because my father, Daniel W. Ritchie, is from Faraday, Louisiana. It's a town that's less than 5,000 people and home of the cousins you may have heard of, Jerry Lee Lewis, Mickey Gilley, and the Honorable Jimmy Swagger. Those guys came from the same small town. That's where my father grew up in. He went to college, played basketball with a guy named Pistol Pete Maravich. Became a lawyer and a politician, so me being an artist is a little different from the background. His 3 brothers from that small town were doctors. They were all doctors. He went to law school in New Orleans, and he met my mother, and I will ask you to put your left hand up in the air, and everybody be brave and courageous, and in Spanish, repeat after me, say, mi voz, tiene poder, para hablar, mi verdad, y compartir, mi luz. So you just said the same thing in English and Spanish. I'm not tricking you into any other thing. I speak Spanish because my mother, Jessie Teresa Valcarcel Ritchie, is from Atorrey, Puerto Rico. Tiny little island, 30 by 100 miles. You've probably heard of it after Hurricane Maria especially. Hopefully you've heard of it for other wonderful reasons, not just for the oceans and the music, but it's a very deep-hearted people. Maybe you know J.J. Barea from the Mavericks, who we love as Puerto Ricans, right? So anyway, speak English and Spanish. Growing up as an oldest child of 4 in that town of Faraday, I never knew that my mother was asked before I was born not to speak Spanish to me. So I grew up in a home where my mother could not speak her mother tongue. And in that home of great achievement, again with my father being a lawyer and a politician and my uncles being doctors, there wasn't as much emotional connection there in that sense. Now they did the best they could. I love them to death. I mean, they're my heroes, and you'll see on my card that that's who my heroes are. But they really inspired me as I grew up and came to college at the University of Dallas. They really inspired me to do the internal work. Because I was at a very strong liberal arts college, Academics were at a supreme, goal. But I found out as our family started going through mental health issues and addiction issues back home that I could not help with across state lines, that I really needed to do my own internal work in order to find some peace and some purpose. So that is what has led me into my career, and I just have a small second with you this morning, so I'm going to probably leave it there. I'm going to invite you to do a courageous thing before you fill out the front of the card and turn it over on the back. So this is a surprise to Rex, but it's super simple. This is as brave as I need you to be at this moment. Write number 1 on the back and put your favorite food growing up and who prepared it. My favorite food growing up was seafood gumbo by my Mimi on a gravel road crossing over a cattle guard into the farm in Longville, Louisiana. My favorite gumbo had shrimp and crab. I didn't find out till later she was not a good cook. It was very watery. I liked it like that, and I still can't eat gumbo from Razzoos or anywhere else because it's just too thick. That's number 1. Number 2, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you travel and why? Would it be a place you've already been? I would love to go back to Barcelona, Spain. Loved the experience there when I was young. I may have been too young to see everything I wanted to see, but my favorite artist of any genre, Antonio Gaudí, is an architect there. Love that guy. Yeah. So I'd go back there. Or I actually would go to Puerto Rico. My mother passed suddenly about 9 months ago, and to be back there with my uncle to go see all of the places that they never took me to on vacation would really mean a lot to me at this point in time. The third thing, be really courageous here. What is your passion, right, outside of your work? Rex made an important statement earlier about this EQ work is on the inside. So many of us wear our business cards and our titles, but what are you most passionate about on the inside? I see a friend here, I will not call him out. He said he's passionate about yoga. I met him last time here. He had a back injury. It's helped him out a lot. He never thought he would do yoga. So what are you passionate about? It may be more than one thing. Growing up for me, it was basketball. Had the good fortune of playing college basketball. That was my passion. Salsa dancing, when I learned how to speak Spanish and picked up the dancing, was a passion. Today, my passion is really simple. I love having people over to my home. I love getting various people together to eat, and especially if they're doing the cooking. It's my favorite part. All right, so we all good with those? Yeah? Turn to the person sitting next to you, if you don't mind, and share 2 of those 3 things. Right? How many people shared more than just the 3 questions? How did you go into something else? Raise your hand, raise your hand. Good. So we forget sometimes, and I love how Rex put it earlier, how awkward it can be to do our introductions, right? Especially when you're going around the room. We all know the people who do it really fast and don't want anybody to know. And we all know the people who hog time, right? So we shall not call you out. I don't know who you are yet. It's also really good to just connect with the people at your tables on some very basic things. What we're going to do now is we're going to transition into this card. So we have been working with youth for over 15 years. And in 2013, we had a chance to do a TED Talk. And it was here, well, it's actually TEDx SMU. That was downtown. And we designed a presentation for 750 youth. And when we did that, they loved it, right? But we did the same exact presentation the next day. Now it was different than just a regular TED Talk. There were 6 of us, including a live painter, a musician without instruments, but he's gifted in that way, my creative partner, Alejandro Perez Jr., and 3 young people, right? So they could kind of embody kind of our movement. And what we were surprised to find out on that Friday is that the 750 adults responded more strongly to the emotion of the presentation. And with that in mind, it gave us kind of a thought light, right? I had gone into education. I was scared of adults, and I'm just being open about that right now. Scared of adults, situations growing up, again, the hyper-competitiveness, the undiagnosed mental health stuff, all that kind of stuff, made me want to just go work with kids. And that's why I went into teaching and being an artist. Now, to be honest, I only taught school officially for 1 year. I had to run out of the classroom. The classroom was not for me. But we were able to develop this right to be heard curriculum, and I was at one middle school for 9 consecutive years after school. And so it was an awesome experience. I got to be able to create my own curriculum, work kind of on my own schedule, eventually went into schools and gather people. Darius is in the back. Raise your hand, Darius. Darius is in the back, and so Darius is one of the people who came on with us 15 years ago to work. He's now a college professor, so he kind of does his own thing and only reconnects every once in a while. But what I found out on that journey is that we could connect with teachers, we could connect with administrators, and after that TED Talk, we began connecting with adults who were interested in this, right? It obviously leaned to folks in the faith community, but definitely leaned to other folks within their organizations who just wanted to communicate better. Michelle gave us the incredible opportunity to present at her conference 2 or 3 years ago in front of 1,500 adults, and we've just been growing organically since, right? So we developed these templates, and this is an edited version that Rex did himself that he put in one of his books a couple years ago. Humanizing, is that the book? Humanizing the Education Machine. We developed these templates because after all of these huge presentations in front of schools and gyms and TED and all those kind of things, we wanted to come up with a more efficient way, low risk, high success way of getting everyone to write, not just kids. And we figured that in a culture that's always desiring to be heard, right, for people to be heard, to be listened to, they're always talked at, we are always talked at, right? The people who want to be listened to, these help them, right? And that's not just introverts. Extroverts, I think, are challenged to put their words together in a nominal way, right? So they can share with their partner. We hear something, and this is not my day to share everything, but we hear now in the work world that the 5 generations, right, from the baby boomers to the 20-somethings, right? Who knows the most? The 20-somethings. that the plane is shifted, right? And in the workforce, you have all 5 generations who are kind of like in the same space. How do we help young people understand the deep wisdom, right? The trials and tribulations, the respect that is offered to the people who have paved the way, right? And at the same time, acknowledge the youth voice. We believe this kind of activity helps with that. So I wouldn't ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do first. And you've heard some of my story, but it's really important that we create a safe space. That's what we try to do with our work. Our purpose statement is creating safe spaces for authentic connection. And here are the ways I feel this thing here. So it says, my name is Will Ritchie, or as my mother used to call me, William Victor. I was born in Natchez, Mississippi, because my father's small town of Faraday, Louisiana did not have a hospital. I speak English and Spanish, music and creativity. My ancestors come from Louisiana and Puerto Rico, Scotland, and Spain. I grew up primarily in Louisiana, except when my father had a wild hair to move us to New Hampshire for 2 years. I went to grade school at Cathedral Elementary, where all of my beautiful friends hung out and played kickball. One thing I overcame growing up that I'm proud about is I never could jump, but I played college basketball. And on a more serious note, I did not know Spanish, but learned as an exchange student in Costa Rica in college. My job is the founder of Journeyman Inc. and creator of Diverse Lounge. But what I really do is bring people together, empower voice, and offer an opportunity to listen to one another. My hero is my mother, without a doubt, because she left her island for love. I experienced pain, and I'll put the word challenge in there. Some people are like put off by pain. You don't have to share your deepest pain in this line. But I experienced pain and challenge when my friends and family suffer with addiction and mental health issues. In my life, I am planting the seeds of experience, strength, and hope so that we can help folks overcome their fear, their guilt, and their shame. I am searching for complementary parts in people to help further enrich the lives of my family, my friends, and my colleagues. My name is Will Ritchie, and my mother would call me William Victor. And this is who I am. Thank you so much. So you were invited, I'm going to play some music here for a moment. You were invited to fill out this card. We say this to all of our students and all of our adults that we're with. If you want to skip a line, you can absolutely skip a line. If you want to throw in that food or that place you'd like to visit in your card, you may do that. This is merely a template of a tapestry that we hope helps you tell a bit of your story before we get started on these 2 days. Thank you so much. If you notice that the person that's sitting next to you that you shared your food, travel, and passion with is done, we would like each person to have an opportunity to be heard. So this is less about speaking and more about being heard. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So once again, we all work at our own pace. Take your time. If you're noticing the person sitting next to you or around you is finished, you can share. Again, share as many lines or skip as many lines as you like. This is merely a conversation starter. Conversation starter to kind of get to know one another before we exchange our business cards, yeah?
All right, so is there anything really interesting that you learned about someone at your table? What was, where they came from? Yeah, okay, well, shout it out. What'd you find out? Who's somebody really interesting or has an interesting background that just kind of popped your attention?
Mike had a tremendous challenge.
Yeah, so Mike's helped, yeah. In fact, you've got a chapter in the book on resilience, right? Yeah, and a lot of it is that health challenge that you went through, right? Yep. Any other interesting journeys or locations or things about people?
I found that Crystal's ability to really own her faith the way that she does in her descriptions was really refreshing and really beautiful.
Oh, cool. Very cool. How about backgrounds? Interesting places. I've never had a question chance. What's that? Walk the Camino.
I walked in.
yeah.
We need to talk. We need to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 500 miles across Spain, you walk.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. That's pretty interesting. So Jim and I grew up within 30 minutes of each other up in the suburbs of Illinois. Craig, what was the town that you were born in?
Born in Kitwe and really lived in Kalalushi, which is a very small mining village in
Yeah.
Zambia.
Fascinating.
I have a simple question. How many people felt acknowledged in this activity? Right? So I think it's important that we don't just point out the exuberant accomplishments, right? But the goal for this is acknowledgement, right? And so what you just modeled was one-on-one connection when we asked about the food. And you acknowledge almost every group did a small group share. The third step would be standing in front of everyone, right? So as Rex said, the biggest fear is public speaking. You're modeling all of this, right? So imagine your staff, your company, or what have you, even the smallest contributor, right, is acknowledged at a table with other folks through these exercises. So thank you so much for modeling that. Yeah. How many people felt a little awkward doing it? Yeah. How many people felt like it felt a little invasive or kind of pushing in somewhere? No? It's okay if you did. Thank you for raising your hand. Thank you. How many people felt kind of freeing? Did it liberate anyone for sharing some things? Yeah. Okay. How many people are wondering why this is the first thing we did on our 2 days? Would it have been easier if you did it later? In the day or tomorrow? These are all very fair questions. We're just posing the questions, and I think Rex is really awesome for including it. So, thanks for participating.
Yeah.